But not only are Canadian companies disappearing at alarming rates, the Canadian jobs are as well. You see, the system we have is so tightly knit that one domino falls and it affects the rest of them. For instance, about 90% of GM Canada's production goes directly to the United States. And as a result of the planned US economic crash, these are some of our most reliable customers now. If they can't even afford their homes, how are they going to afford our cars?
In my opinion, this is a direct result of decades of unfair trade. For decades, offshore competitors have been allowed to saturate our market with their vehicles with no limits in place. Approximately 5 million vehicles a year come into our market from offshore, and we can't enter their markets. And if we can enter their markets, there's restrictions put on us, such as South Korea, where last year they exported 400,000 vehicles to our market. We are allowed to export 300 vehicles to their market. I just left the workplace yesterday morning that's been in Oshawa since 1937, PPG Glass, where 160 people were told yesterday they don't have a job in March of 2009. A direct result of our Conservative government doing nothing in regards to unfair trade, because most of the glass coming into our country now for vehicles is produced in China. And we can't compete with Chinese labor, Chinese wages. We can't compete. Colin Carey, this is his city, this is Oshawa. 11,000 good paying jobs have left the Oshawa area in the last 2 years, while Colin Carey has been our voice in Ottawa. Jim Flaherty should be ashamed of himself. He comes from Oshawa Whitby. He represents this sector.
So do you think all these jobs that are being lost, are they gone for good?
They're gone for good. They're gone forever. Once it's a lot like collective bargaining. Once you give something up, or once you lose something, you're not getting it back. We lose these jobs, they're not coming back.
And once again, we see the domino effect come into play.
For every one assembly line job in General Motors up the street, it creates 7.5 in spin-off employment. So you've heard that they're going to close our truck plant next May now instead of July. 2,600 jobs are going to evaporate out of that facility. But then if you look at the spin-off employment, it's more around 14,000 jobs are going to be gone throughout this region as a result of that plant closing. The auto industry in Canada employs 440,000 people between auto assembly, auto parts. That's a lot of good paying Canadian jobs at a time where we've lost well over 400,000 jobs in the last 4.5 years because of the manufacturing crisis. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, this is a crisis. It's unprecedented. It's the worst time in our history, and that's why I'm offended that our government continues to turn their backs on this crisis.
So what are the main reasons for the auto industry crisis? Once again, we come back to the monetary system and our government leaders selling Canadians out.
It's troubling, and I get frustrated because none of this has to happen. None of this has to happen. You know, it's a cycle where the industry has its ups and downs. We've all seen it, any of us that have worked in the industry for a number of years. But never have we seen this much uncertainty. Never.
It's becoming more evident than ever that the jobs in Canada are shifting from manufacturing to consumer-driven. This means bad times for working people and good times for corporate monsters like Walmart, who make profits from violating human rights.
Sorry, how is Walmart violating human rights?
Just listen to the workers themselves.
We really work day and night in order to get the wage of less than $3 a day.
I would respectfully like to ask the boss of Walmart to give the Chinese workers some consideration and a chance for a little time off.
Customers of Walmart, when you wear expensive clothes, when your children play with high-quality toys, think about China and the Far East.
Those profits you made and the wonderful life you have are the sweat and tears and overtime working of Chinese people.
If one day I encounter a lady who just bought a toy from Walmart, I'll say, "Respectable customer, respectable Walmart customer, do you know why you can buy such a cheap toy from Walmart? That's because we workers work all day, every day and night."
But I mean, the only problem there is that if you look, it's not just Walmart. I mean, if you look across the board, most of the products we get come from places where this happens.
So most of the products that Canadians are subjected to buy come from slavery-backed companies that our governments have allowed to grow and monopolize in our markets. And it doesn't really seem to bother anyone. Which is why Walmart's low prices are wiping out Canadian businesses. I mean, how is any company in Canada supposed to compete with this? You can't. That's why Walmart is so successful. They know that if they had workers like this in Canada, no one would stand for it. So they go to a country like China, where they can get away with it, bring the goods back to Canada, slap a happy face logo on the product, and sell it at marked up prices. But still lower than any honest-made product from Canada, because it costs them so little to make the product itself. Letting a corporation operate like this in our country is a danger to Canadian jobs, human rights, and it's just plain wrong. But our government doesn't really find it to be an issue since over 20 Walmarts open in Canada every year. And when economic times are tough, not only are we practically forced to shop at Walmart, but it's only these big guys that can keep their heads above water and take the economic hits. This means we'll all be working at Walmart, and shopping at Walmart, and dying at Walmart. But what is the most powerful business of all? You see, as horrible as the bankers and corporate elitists may be, they're nothing without the law giving them their powers. This is why our money is technically legal tender. It's the law's money. The law then creates laws that imperfect man will inevitably break. I called up my municipality and asked them why was it illegal to park between 3 and 5 a.m. on a residential road. They said it was because of snowplows and that they usually come between those hours. In September? They thought it was funny too. The point is, this is a guaranteed cash cow. Here's another quick word fact. The word bench literally translates to bank. So when you hear that the judge sits on the bench, he actually sits on the bank. Interesting. Because the law gives the banks their power, and the way banks operate creates poverty, and since poverty is the mother of crime, the law makes a killing off of poverty-stricken people and ridiculous fines and court fees, which all have to be paid back with their money. Quite the business scheme, I must say. But I'm not saying that all laws are bad. I'm just saying that if there's one thing the law has taught us, it's that if you have money, the law is on your side. Because everything is about money. Think about all the rich people who get off the hook simply because of their wealth.